I'm live. Hey, how you doing? I'm all right. How you doing? Anyway, here I am. I know I've got about a minute before it's actually 7:30, but I just thought I'd come on a little early here while I'm getting my ducks in a row, and you can watch me as I make a fool of myself. Anyway, so as I mentioned in my post, you can also find this video on the Floyd Bayne channel on YouTube, which may give you actually a better response as far as typing in questions or comments. Because I'm looking at my Facebook page right now, which has the link to this video on it, but I'm not seeing where it's doing anything. Maybe on your end. Again, I'm still new at a lot of this, so maybe you're seeing it on YouTube in a way that I'm not seeing it. So, but again, if you want to comment or ask questions, you can go to the Floyd Bayne channel through YouTube, and there's a column over here on the right-hand side of the screen where you can type in questions and that sort of thing. So anyway, all right, 7:30. Here we go. So, as usual, I'm scrolling through my Facebook news feed and I'm seeing stuff, and it makes me think of things that I want to talk about. And of course, as you might expect, it makes me angry sometimes because some of the things I see. And my wife was talking to me about this earlier. Hey, you're always so angry. You're always so mad. Well, yeah, I am, because there's so many people out there trying to screw with me and with us and with things and with liberty. And what are you supposed to do? Do you just sit back and pretend it's not happening? Do you just keep your mouth shut and go about your business and hope it doesn't affect you? Angry. Yeah, I'm angry. It doesn't mean that I'm fuming every minute of every day. I find things to entertain myself, to make me smile, to make me happy. I listen to music. I'll play some video games on the computer. I'll work out. There are things I do. Play hockey. That's my big one. So there are things I do. But again, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, those people, the anti-liberty crowd, the liberals, they're still there, and they're still doing the things they do and saying the things that they say. And if it were just them, if they were just living in a vacuum and what they did and said only affected them, I don't care. As an example, you don't like guns, you don't want to own a gun, don't buy a gun. It doesn't bother me. Nothing I've ever said or advocated for could in any way be construed to make somebody believe that I think you have to have a gun. You don't. Not everybody should have one. Not everybody's comfortable with a gun. I get that. But your idea, Mr. and Mrs. Liberal, is that because you don't like it, then no one should have one. Well, that's not the way I think. That's not what liberty is. So another example, the vaccine craze that's going on right now. You think that because you want one, that because you think it's necessary, then everybody should have to get one. Not that they should get it, but you think it should be mandatory. They should be made to get it. And if they don't, then they should be made to suffer. They should be ostracized. They should be banned from certain venues. They shouldn't be allowed to go certain places and do certain things because you think that they should have to get the vaccine. They shouldn't have a choice. And when they offer up reasons, and we'll be addressing this in a few minutes here, when they offer up reasons as to why they don't want to get the vaccine, then you refuse to hear it. You want to talk about science. And yet, when we offer up science to refute what you have said, you ignore our science. You ignore our sources, doctors, scientists, researchers, nurses, people who have experience with these things, who are saying that Dr. Fauci and others Bill Gates, and you are wrong. But your science is right. Your doctors, your scientists, well, they're all right. They're correct. They wouldn't lie to us. Well, I mean, how do they benefit from lying to us, right? But me, the guys I offer up, the doctors and scientists and researchers I'll put out there and say, here's a video, here's a research paper that says that what you're saying is a bunch of crap. Now, that science is crazy. You don't want to hear that. So the question then becomes, well, whose scientists, whose doctors, whose researchers are correct? And this brings us back to the question I've asked numerous times before. Who benefits from lying to you? Is it the doctor who is saying, maybe you shouldn't take the vaccine? Is it the doctor who's saying, you know, masks really don't help? Or is it the doctor who is heavily invested in vaccines? Or is it the doctor who's invested in PPE? Is it the doctor who's paid by, or the researcher who's paid by government grants? And so in order to keep those grants coming, you know what they have to do. And it's not like the media, the government, big pharma haven't lied to you before. And a question I've asked many times before is, how many times does somebody have to lie to you before you stop believing them? Do you have anybody in your family like that? I sure as hell used to. Lie to you about it. They'd rather climb a tree to tell a lie than stay on the ground and tell the truth. Manipulative, use people, lie their ass off. Well, how many times are you going to let someone like that lie to you before you just stop? Hey, it's enough. I don't want to hear it. I don't believe you. You're a liar. You've proven that time and again. Well, I'm asking the question of you again. How many times? What's it take? How many times does Fauci have to lie or be inconsistent? How many times does Big Pharma have to lie? Have you looked at all the lawsuits against Big Pharma over the years? Have you looked at the number of times they've been sued for lying? I mean, you could look this stuff up if you wanted to. If you wanted to. But people lie, and you let them keep lying to you because you keep believing it. You keep doing what they tell you to do for reasons I can't explain. So I posted a video earlier on my Facebook pages and a couple other places. Truth in Media with Ben Swan. It's about a 10-minute video, 10 minutes, 31 seconds, in fact. I'll post it in the comment section under this video, just so to make sure you see it and you know which one I'm talking about, in which he shows in the recent Senate hearings where Dr. Fauci and Senator Rand Paul were going back and forth, how Dr. Anthony Fauci, the hero of so many on the left because he doesn't like Trump, and if you don't like Trump, you could be the biggest asshole in the world, but if you don't like Trump, you're okay with the left, right? Doesn't matter how many lies you tell. Doesn't matter how inconsistent you are. It doesn't matter if you're heavily invested in vaccine patents and stand to make a fortune off of them, along with Bill Gates. So Fauci's testifying again before Congress, or before the Senate in particular, and Rand Paul's asking him questions, and Fauci, as the video will show, outright lies. I mean, he just outright freaking lies. And the great thing about this video, and see, again, this is where I get angry, this is where I get frustrated, is you show this to people, especially those on the left, especially the pro-mask, the pro-vaccine people, and you try to show this stuff to them, and here's the facts. Ben Swan shows the documents, the government documents that prove that Fauci is lying. And you show this to them, and they just, that's fake news. Nah, you're just making, you're a conspiracy nut. I mean, what are you supposed to do? How do you not get angry and frustrated at that? When you show them the actual honest to God facts, it's right there in front of them. It's on paper. It's the actual government documents. And then, it's not true. I mean, how do you deal with that kind of stupidity? How do you not get angry? How do you pretend that that's okay? So when you watch the video, and again, it's only 10 minutes and 30 seconds, I want you to pay attention to it. Think of the number of people over the past 15, 20 years who've gone to jail for lying to Congress. And then ask yourself, is Anthony Fauci going to go to jail? You know the answer to that. Anthony Fauci was the director, of the National Institutes for Health, the NIH. The money that was earmarked for doing research into the coronavirus had to have his approval. I mean, some low-level schmuck sitting behind a desk in a no-windowed office is not the person who had to sign the documents to okay the use of this money. It was Anthony Fauci. And then the money was sent to the Wuhan lab in China. It had to be approved by Anthony Fauci. And he's going to sit there, look Rand Paul and the American people in the eyes and lie his ass off to them and tell them, oh, no, we don't do that kind of research. We don't do gain of function. And we don't, that's not authorized. And we don't finance this sort of thing. And then Ben Swann doing what real journalists are supposed to do and showing the documentation proving that Fauci's lying, shows the documents from the government. Excuse me, if I'm not looking right at you, I'm trying to find something right now. And the documentation's right there. The proof that Fauci's lying is right there. Now, one of the questions you need to ask, I certainly would like to ask, I'd like to know the answer to, is gain of function research. What is the purpose of that? Why are we allowing that? Why are we being made to pay for that? For those of you who don't understand what that means, and I'm sure most of you do, but there's always that one or two people out there. Gain of function. You've got a virus that only affects animals. That's it. Just animals. But now you want to gain function for that virus. You want to research it, test it, work on it, and create a new virus from that old virus that now can affect human beings. Gain a function. You want that virus to gain a function, to be able to do something now that it wasn't able to do before. Affect and sicken humans. Why? Why the hell would you want to do that? And why are we paying for it? Why is Anthony Fauci earmarking your tax dollars to go to a lab in Wuhan, China, to pay for something like that? And let's exclude the idea that the virus came from the Wuhan lab. It was accidentally or purposely released, whatever. The fact is, we were paying for that research. Again, why would you do that? Do any of you even care? And when I say that, I know most of you do. I'm talking about the people on the left. I'm talking about the people who continue to allow politics to infect their thinking, to infect the way they see science. They don't think rationally. They think politically. Why would you excuse that? Why would you ignore that? Why would you pretend it's not happening? So in watching that video, these are things that jump out at me. Now, to each his own. Maybe you come up with some different questions. If you do, post them in the comments section. I'd be interested in seeing what they are. But the first thing that jumps out at me is, why are you doing that? And then when you see that Fauci's outright lying, and don't tell me he doesn't know he's lying. He was the director. He knew what the hell he was doing with that money. He knew where it was going and what it was being used for. Why does he get a pass? Just because he's Democrat or because he doesn't like Trump? I mean, is that all it takes anymore? If you have a D next to your name, or you can say with sincerity that you hate Trump, then you can do whatever you want to do. Because what really matters is politics, right? That's all that matters. All right. So anyway, like I said, I'll post the link to that video in the comments section under this video so you know which one exactly I'm talking about. But let's look at some other stuff I saw posted on Facebook that just got me to thinking. Saw a meme somebody posted under the word ironical, the definition, calling for experimental vaccine passports and opposing voter ID. Yeah, I love that one. So ask one of your friends, if you have a liberal friend, ask them, do you think people should have a voter ID? Should they have a picture ID, a legitimate issued ID to be able to vote? And see what they say. Especially, and if they say no, that's racist or whatever, then ask them, do you think people should have a passport ID showing that they passport for the vaccine showing they've had the shots? Oh, yeah, absolutely. They should have. How's that not racist? How's that okay? So you don't need one to vote, but you do need one to prove that you've had an experimental vaccine. And in keeping with that theme, Mr. and Mrs. Trump supporter, I want to remind you who it was that rushed through the vaccine to get it out on the market as quick as possible. Who was that? Huh? You remember? It was Donald Trump. Yeah, remember what a big deal he made about it? Remember what a big deal you made about it? Your boy, Don, look at him getting rid of all those regulations and cutting through the red tape and getting that vaccine out there on the market as quick as possible. And now you, the very same people who praised Trump for doing that, are going, oh, no, it wasn't properly tested. I'm not taking that vaccine. It's just rushed through. It didn't have time to be tested properly. It's an experimental vaccine, and we're the guinea pigs. Well, you need to make your minds up. Pick a side and stick with it. What else? Oh, another meme someone posted. Joe Biden says 22 million Americans lost their jobs due to the pandemic. That's not accurate. Well, it's not. 22 million Americans lost their jobs due to government lockdowns. But see, here's how it works. Here's how the left, and with the all too willing aid of the media, change the language that we use. They change how we say things and how we hear things and what they mean. So when Joe Biden comes on TV or radio, wherever he is, and says 22 million Americans lost their jobs due to the pandemic, well, the average American, especially the average leftist, hears that and goes, yeah, he's right. That darn virus shut down all those businesses and people lost their jobs and lost their businesses and blah, blah, blah. No, the virus didn't do any of that. The governors and the government writ large is who did it. So if you're looking for a culprit, it's not hard to find one. You just have to want to see the truth. They didn't lose their jobs because of a virus. They lost their jobs because of the government. What else is going on here? Let's see. See if we got any more memes worth commenting on. Oh, here's one I saw on Facebook from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Photos, March for Peace and Harmony in Short Pump. The Asian American Society of Central Virginia kicks off Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month with the March for Peace and Harmony in Short Pump Park. Okay, that's relatively harmless. I don't really see a problem with that. Although I would point out, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just going by what I've seen. I would point out that over the past month or 2 months, every video and news story I have seen of anti-Asian racism or attacks on Asians has come from what other race? Come on, hurry up. Which other race? Who's it been doing it? Huh? Have you noticed it's been mostly African Americans? I haven't seen any incidences. Now, I'm not saying they aren't out there, but if they are, and people are recording them like they do everything else they see out here, they're not showing them. Mainstream media sure isn't broadcasting them. And you would think if it was white people doing it, man, they'd be all over that, because that fits the narrative, doesn't it? White racism, white supremacy, white people are evil, white people are the problem with this country. And yet all the attacks, verbal or physical, that I've seen on Asians in the past couple of months have been from black people. But blacks can't be racist, right? That's only for white people. And by the way, this since Asian racism seems to be much in the news nowadays, if you're one of these people who thinks that because the COVID-19 virus came from China, that any and all Asians are responsible, I don't know what else to tell you. You're just stupid. That's like saying that the Hong Kong flu is the responsibility of everybody who lives in Hong Kong, or the Spanish flu. You can blame Spanish people for that. Or avian flu. Well, I guess we'd have to blame birds for that, wouldn't we? Well, you see the point? Now, you and I both know there are people out there that think that way. And I'm happy to say I don't, and I don't know too many of them personally. In fact, I can't think of any right now off the top of my head who think that way. So I don't know why this anti-Asian racism seems to be rearing its ugly head all of a sudden. But I guess it just gives the news another narrative to push and another way to say white people are bad. I think I've told this story to you before. This goes back many years when we sold the last of our family supermarkets in south side of Richmond. We put the store up. It was at Belmead Road and Jeff Davis Highway. That's right. I said Jeff Davis Highway. Deal with it. And we had the store up for sale, and word was going around the neighborhood that the store was being sold. And I can't tell you how many of our customers, mostly black customers, came to me and said, "Hey, y'all, why y'all selling the store?" I said, "Well, my dad's getting older and we want to move on and do something else." Do you know what the most oft asked question was from my black customers? Are you ready? Now, this isn't me saying this. This isn't me making this up. You can choose to believe it or not. I got no reason to lie to you. The most often asked question was, "Y'all ain't going to sell to no chinks, are you?" Excuse me? Yeah, we don't want them people down here. Look, dude, I don't care what color you are. The only color we're thinking about is green. If you got a brother who's got the money and wants to buy the store, send him over here. We'll talk to him. But that was coming from our black customers. I didn't have one Hispanic customer or one white customer, although we have a few of them at the time. None of those came up and asked me that. But all the black customers who talked to me about our selling the store would finish with, "You ain't going to sell to no chinks, are you?" Well, you tell me where the racism is on that spectrum. Wasn't me asking that question. Where's another one? Are there any other memes worth commenting on? I think that'll do for now because I've tied up some of your time here. But again, it's just the frustrating thing for me is, the thing that makes me so angry is, these are questions that to me just seem so basic, so rudimentary, that if somebody presents you with a question, a problem, a situation, you look at it, you assess it, and some questions should come up in your head is, why? Why are they doing that? Why did they say that? What do they hope to achieve with that? And again, who benefits from lying to me? And there are people who benefit from lying to you. The fact that I have to explain this to some people is depressing and frustrating. You would think by now, anybody who's over 18 years of age and has lived at least part of an adult life has seen enough of this to understand that they're being lied to and used and manipulated, and they should be skeptical of any and everything that comes from the government, the media, the mainstream media, and from corporations like Big Pharmaceutical. Anybody who can sell you a product and cannot be held responsible for any harm that product brings to you, you should be a little skeptical about it. You should ask questions like, why do they get a pass? If I buy a car seat for my baby and I install it properly, and we're driving down the road and we get in an accident and my child is thrown out the window and killed, I can sue the maker of that car seat for a defective product. But if you get a vaccine shot and it suddenly starts causing seizures that you never had before, or some other malady that you never had before, and it can be attributed to that shot that you got, you can't sue the pharmaceutical company that insisted that you take that vaccine, in fact, bribed your representatives in Congress and the state and local levels to see to it that they pass laws mandating that you had to do certain things or take certain medicines or vaccines. And yet you have no recourse. Doesn't that worry you? Left, right, center, I don't care who you are. Don't you think that should worry you? Aren't you even a little bit curious as to why they get a pass on liability when no one else anywhere in the world can do that? These are questions I think of. These are questions that I ask. And I would like answers, but I seldom get them. In fact, usually I just get some snarky, smart-ass comments in return, not even remotely trying to address the questions I asked or to refute or verify the facts that I presented. Just want to call you names. How do you not get frustrated and angry at that? You're trying to explain to people why liberty is important, why they should care about liberty, how they're being lied to, why they're being lied to, the effect that those lies are having. And yet they turn around and want to make you the bad guy. I'm not trying to demand that you do anything. I'm not voting for people who want to pass laws that mandate that you have to do something. Can you make that same claim? You should be able to live your life any way you choose, as long as you're not hurting other people and you're not infringing on their rights. How much simpler can I make it? But you, Mr. and Mrs. Leftist, and a lot of you on the right, and you know who you are, you want laws passed that say, oh, you have to do X, Y, and Z. Well, why? Well, because that's what I think. And what I think is more important than what you think. And things should be done the way I want them done. So if I can't do it to you myself, I'm going to vote for people who will. That should make you angry. But unfortunately, in a lot of cases, it doesn't seem to. Anyway, enough for tonight. I'm going to take off now. Hopefully, I've been giving you something to think about. If you have any questions, you know where the comment section is. Then I'll post the video there, like I said, so you can look at that if you haven't seen it already. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.